Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the reactions. Good evening. Welcome to our data community online meetup, a virtual space where knowledge is shared, connections are made, and inspiration flourishes. I'm thrilled to see each and every one of you joining us today. Whether you are a regular attendee or a first-timer, your presence enriches our community. Today, we have a fantastic speaker lined up who will be delving into Azure AI Services topic. This is a golden opportunity for us to learn, exchange ideas, and strengthen our network. Throughout the presentation, feel free to engage in the chat, share your thoughts, and ask questions. After the talk, we'll have a dedicated Q&A session where the speaker will address your queries. So now, let me admit a few more people. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Elbek Normurodov, a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. Elbek, the virtual stage is yours. We are eagerly looking forward to your insights.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me tell you, it's a great honor to be in your community to talk and share knowledge that I have been gaining for some time now. Let me introduce myself. My name is Elbek, and I am from Uzbekistan, currently living in Ankara. Well, I'm a very tech enthusiast. So I code, I build projects, I teach, and yeah, I find it interesting. The whole career, the whole thing. And today I'm here to talk to you about a very interesting subject that I have been playing around for some time now. So this is about AI and what Azure can offer us in terms of AI. So so last year have been a great year for AI, as everybody have seen how ChatGPT has boomed, gaining millions of users across the world. And my mentor has said that we should, as a software engineers, should also be in this bandwagon, as they say. Otherwise, it might be very hard for us to keep up with the pace of this new, let's say revolution. And yeah, ever since I've been building some projects, and we have been integrating our own enterprise level applications to keep up with new AI, with what AI offers. So let me share my screen and we'll go from there. Okay. Options, share screen. I hope you can see my screen now. Let me
Not
do a
yet.
presentation. Okay.
Okay, we can see it now. Thank you.
Yeah. So today's topic is Azure AI Services. And just give me a second. Okay, let's get started. So today's topics will include Azure AI Vision, Azure AI Speech. These are the two most common services that are used in this platform. And then we'll walk through the Azure portal so that we know where to go if you want to build your own applications based on Azure AI after this session. And then I'll show you the projects we have made using those services. We'll have some live coding. I'll show you the quick project that I have prepared for you, and then we'll have a quick Q&A session. So let's get started with Azure vision services. Basically, Azure offers us 4 categories in which we can use Azure Vision, artificial intelligence vision features, and one of them happened to be the optical character recognition. That's to be in simple terms, that's when you put an image and it tries to read text out of your image. There are also other features like facial recognition that allows you to your application to add some facial recognition features, which highly increases the security and stuff like that. And the third great feature is image analysis that analyzes when you give it an image, it analyzes whole image and gives you some summaries based on, very human-like summaries. And one of the cool and the last feature on this vision service is, spatial analysis. For example, when you have a shop, let's say it is one environment, and the AI service will go ahead and analyze the environment in real time using computer vision and tracks the movements and stuff like that. Using that, for example, in the case of a shop, you can analyze where most people go, and based on this, you can, achieve great results in your sales, for example. And the second AI service that we'll be talking about is Azure Speech Services, AI Speech Services. And they include features like convert speech to text. So, or you can have your own app, talk to people through their phones, computers, and etc. You can have real-time translation, which is gaining popularity in these recent years. And the next option would be to verify and recognize speakers. Probably you can also activate your own assistant or IoT device with your custom keywords. And you can also add some voice commands to your application. All right. So, and don't worry, we'll have a quick demo of these one of these features, and you get to learn how to use them and how to integrate these features into your own applications. Okay, so the projects we have made using Azure services. The first one, let's say, is Lexi. And let me open up my Telegram. So I have an online school where I teach software development, and at the end of the curriculum, students have to do some sort of real project, and this is one of them. So basically, once you start the bot, it says welcome, and you send the voice, just like I did previously, and then the English bot will convert the speech to text, and then it analyzes your speech in terms of the fluency, accuracy, completeness and pronunciation and stuff like that. So this is kind of speech analysis feature. And yeah, we have done like a couple of tests here, and that's Lexi English bot. The next bot, and one of my favorite features, is our Tartib bot, where you post an image, this image will be converted into text, and this text will be examined by another AI regarding task achievement, coherence, and cohesion. That's jargon stuff for IELTS students. If any one of you have studied IELTS you might know what is task achievement, coherence, and cohesion. So basically, an AI service, not the Azure one, however, assessed the text that got extracted from this image by Azure service. So within one look, this might seem pretty, straightforward, but there are multiple AI services, heavy business logic going on under the hood. And the last project is, demo project that we'll do today. And yeah, before we go to the project, do any one of you have any questions, comments? But before that, let me quickly, but before that, let's say if you want to learn about the Azure AI speech and vision and what we'll be discussing now, you can go to one of these links. I'll share this presentation with you so that you have all the materials to go through. Okay. The pricing. So you might be interested, okay, we have these services, how much do they cost? They significantly differ. So I do not know on top of my head, but I can share the diagram, the official website of Azure that says the read is for S1. You have the free version, obviously, which has until 500 up to 500 pages per month, the recognition one. If you want to go paid plan for pay as you go, that's like $1.50 per 1,000 pages, and that's it. And as you move large numbers, it will get cheaper. And and there are different tiers. This one was a pay-as-you-go commitment tiers. This for enterprise projects mostly. And I also need to share this in my presentation. I'll attach after the session, and you'll have this on your own. Regarding the voice service, the voice one is, if I remember correctly, it was $10 for an hour of content that's synthesized. You mean when the Azure Voices synthesizes 1 hour of content for you, it will cost you $10. Okay. And now let me open the chat and we'll see if we have any questions. Yes, thank you. Amazing. Okay, great. All right, guys. Let's move on. So before I open the project, I would like to give a little bit of context on how I developed the application, so that you know my approach into coding. So I'll be drawing a lot. So basically, I zoomed out too much. Okay, that's better. So while I am developing an application, I try to, follow this some logic behind each application architecture. So basically, my thought is that your application, irregardless of its type, will have several components, or you can say boundaries. So first boundary will be like dependencies. That's what your whole applications depends from. Then you have your business logic. That's where you put your validations, exception handling, and different orchestrations and stuff like that. And somehow you need to show it to people, your features, to let it be a front end, let it be some other microservice. So this will be, let's call it exposure. And for exposing our services, we have gRPC, REST API, one of the most famous exposure layer, technologies, and so on. So we'll be building an application that is exposed, that has some logic, and that depends on external technologies. Yeah, that's my train of thought while developing an application. I need to categorize each component, and then we will continue, we can start coding. And my mentor says, if you cannot draw your code, you cannot write it. So first of all, as you can see here, I have a lot of tasks, tabs in this board. And yeah, I draw every time. So I think that's very useful while I'm trying to explain some things to you. So today's application would be a simple application that extracts text out of an image, and then it synthesizes it, it voices it, or you can say speaks it. And for that one, we'll be using two Azure AI services. First one is, let's say vision. And since this is dependency, we'll call dependencies like brokers. Just the terminology that I use every day. And the second service is speech, and I'll call it speech broker. So if you have used like repository pattern or stuff like this, it's like repository pattern in general. Like broker is something that hides the implementation, only gives the contract to the business logic, so that our business logic is not married to the dependencies that we will work with. So later, if you want to save the text into the database, you can have here like storage broker, or if you'd like to use a repository pattern, that's fine too. Okay, so we have identified our two dependencies. They are called vision broker and speech broker. These are basically the classes that go and talk to the Azure. And here they provide some contract and interface so that our business logic can use these functionalities. So what would be our business logic then? Before we go to business logic, let's discuss the exposure. So this is an API project, and we'll have a simple controller, and this controller will give us just an image. That's a very that's very simple thing. It gives just an image. What our business logic should do, and pay close attention to this. So it should go to a vision broker, it should extract the text out of it, and then it should then pass this text to the speech broker, and speech broker will return byte array, the audio file, and that audio file should be returned to the user. So here we are a user. Let me say user will pass image. Oops. Yeah, it will hand over the image to it, and this image should travel to Vision Broker. Vision Broker should return us the text. And this text will go back to here, and it will be passed to the speech broker. Speech broker will generate audio, and this audio will be passed back to the user from the controller. Okay, so I just explained the, business logic, and now how are we gonna implement that business logic? Let's see. So what we like to do is that we'll have multiple services, just a service-based architecture, and I will put buffer services in front of these, like I'll call it like Vision service. What it does, it just calls the Vision Broker. It acts like a buffer in case of any exception happens from this side, or if it returns some sort of external model. This buffer service, we like to call it a foundation service. That foundation service will not let that external, let it be models, exceptions, and stuff like that, slip into our actual application. So that's, like if you have a house, the foundation will sit between the earth and the house itself. Just the same concept. The same will be for speech service. Speech service will have a buffer. So we said we'll pass, it will give us the, the text. And now we need to do an orchestration, which is passing the image, and then once we have the text, passing the speech. If we have that logic inside the controller, it will be very, very, then our application will be married to this exposure layer. So what we do, we'll extend our business logic to include one more service, which we call orchestration service. So in that case, we'll pass the image to this orchestration service, and then that orchestration service will pass that into the Vision service. Once it gets the text, it will pass that text into the speech service. So this way, and that speech service passes that into speech broker. Okay, that's just a quick, architecture discussion. Yeah. Anyone has any questions regarding this architecture? Let me share that with the audience real quick. Can I share it here? Yeah, I can. Okay. All right. So, so this is the application. I have this data boom. Sorry, I wanted to call it data boom, but it turned out to be data book. Okay. So we have data boom AI assistant API. We have brokers layer. We have controllers. We have obviously models. We have services. And for controllers, we have this controller called home controller, and it just posts an image and gives that image into the orchestration service. But before that, before we go into the orchestration service, let's go to two different brokers. Do you remember the speech broker and the Vision broker? So here we have Vision broker. And our vision broker has this interface that says extract text asynchronously, gets a stream, and gives this form page list to the return as a return type. So this is the real implementation of this. Let me make my screen larger so everyone can see, even if in their phones. Okay, so if we go from top, it says, in order to implement in order to talk with Azure, we need to firstly install this Azure AI form recognizer library from Azure, and that's called form recognizer. Yeah, don't forget the library name. That's very much important. And then you have credentials. You have you need to create a client for it. So basically, we'll go and get the configurations from the app settings. We bind the from the section that's called this, and then we pass those configurations, the key from the Azure to the Azure key credential. All right, and then you create a client using the URI from the configuration that says vision address, and then you pass the credentials as well. Then you have this simple method that says extract text async. You start recognizing, wait until it completes, and then you just return the value. And yeah, we turn it into the list, and we have the text. Easy, right? Okay. So until then, do everybody know where to get this vision in set up in Azure portal? Let me just walk through. Yeah, I told you that I'll be walking through this thing, but I forgot. All right, so an interesting thing is the library is called form recognizer, and they call it document intelligence. Just you need to learn this stuff, otherwise it's gonna be a little bit harsh. So if you want to create a new, yeah, let's create a new thing real quick, like data boom document intelligence. Pricing tier will go with F. You can see the pricing list details as well. You click next, you add identity off, you say next, tags, we don't need tags. And in this way, you can just create your document intelligence app. So I'm clicking like create here. I also want to show you where you can get those keys and how you can start implementing your own application. So this is deploying. Let's give it a minute. Until then, we'll discuss where I am storing those, keys. So if you open this app settings, I have here vision configuration where I have vision key and vision address. Here you'll paste the key plus the URI that you get from Azure portal. And then in this way, you can set up Azure key credentials, plus you can get that client. Okay, now I have messed up my app. Just bear with me now. Okay, I'm good now. So where we are at in this diagram, we are in the dependencies, and we have seen how this is working. And I'll I'll go back to my Azure. And we'll see if we have the resource. Yep, we have it. We have this doc. And if you want to get the keys, here you have the keys. So this is the endpoint that we'll be pasting as address. And that will be the key that you want to just copy to clipboard and paste it into your app settings. Be careful with the keys. Don't show it to anybody. Yeah, that's the whole interface of document intelligence. I'll be just taking some notes for you. If anyone like doesn't want to take notes and stuff like that. So what it is called, the library is called form recognition, or let me put that full name so that if you want to search from the NuGet package manager, you will have the reference. So this is called form, the library. This is the library. And okay, service in Azure is called document intelligence. Yeah, as I'm taking notes for you, just type in the chat how many years of experience you have. Have you worked on enterprise projects before? And have you used Azure services or OpenAI services before, and stuff like that. I'm very interested in that, about the audience and stuff like that. So here, let me just make it, expand it a little bit so that it looks pretty. Have I forgot anything? No. I'm just putting it here like domain. That's the language that I want it to be, or it's called vision anyway in the Azure, so I'm putting like domain. The name is vision. The library is called Azure AI Form Recognizer, and the service is called Document Intelligence. I'll just paste this into our chat. Maybe somebody will need it. No? No one's gonna write? Okay. All right. Let's move on. I'll not, put too much stress on the services, because everybody likes to write their own type of services. But here how we write our service. So here we have a quick interface that says, I'll return a string, get a stream, and this is called extract text async. And it's so we are getting the vision broker as a dependency, and we are getting all the pages. We do not let that split into the main orchestrator business logic. So this, as I called it, a buffer. We don't let this form recognizer to be all over our application, because you know why? Because once the Azure team decides, okay, let's call it not form page, but let's say just page. And in that case, your whole application will have some sort of breaking changes, and that puts your application into a very uncomfortable place. So we have these pages, and for each all of those pages, we loop through the lines and append into a text string builder we have, and just return that text into our, we just return from our service. Okay. So we are good here. Now let's move on to the speech service. So speech service very easy, like it returns byte array, it gets a text that we have generated, extracted from the vision broker, and then we implemented it how? So here we have speech config, and this speech config is like an Azure key credentials, as you saw earlier. Okay, just give me a second, my lamp. Okay, good. So here we have we get our configuration and we configure our speech. The interesting thing about brokers is that they should know how to configure themselves without depending on any other component. That's what we are doing here by injecting the iConfiguration service. So this way we bind the configuration, and here I have speech configuration section in my app settings. We have key, and we need to paste the region. Does anyone remember what was oh, here we have an address. I was just going to ask that, but anyway, so we get the speech configuration object from subscription, and give key and region into that method as parameters. And that's how we synthesize text, voice over the text. It has some default, names, voices. These are all artificial intelligence voices, and it has over 400, synthetic voices. So you can play around that. They have Kazakh, they have Uzbek voices. It's pretty cool, and they seem very natural as we see now. So we create a object out of speech synthesizer. We speak the text and return the audio. Does that seem fair? Anyone? Any questions? No? Okay. Let's move on. So where we are at our architecture. So we went through the speech broker. Now let's go to and discuss the speech service, buffer foundation service. All it's doing is just, since this, broker doesn't return any external model coming from the Azure, we are just passing through. We are just calling it. And for enterprise version applications, you're definitely gonna need to validate the text, that it's not null, it's not empty space, it's not white spaces and stuff like that. Yeah, this is just a pass through. This is not a very big deal, so that's why I'm marking this one as green too. And a very interesting, speech orchestration. So this, what that basically means is, what that basically means is we orchestrate between multiple services and form a higher business or logic. So that's here. If you see under folder of orchestrations, I have this interface that returns the byte array, getting the stream. And here we have our main business logic. We inject those two services. And here we just extract the text and return the synthesized voice into the controller. And the controller, as you have seen, is just a post method that gets the file and turns into a stream and gets this audio. This is, as I said, this illustrates the whole picture of the demo. However, for enterprise versions, you're definitely going to need validations, exception handling, and probably documentation. For example, you can put some XML documentation on top of your method. Just because byte array doesn't mean anything in terms of business logic. So what I can do, I can say like returns like synthesized audio based on the input. And whenever we are going to use it, yeah, it should. Let me just build it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's gonna go to the interface because we don't actually depend on the service, but instead we depend on the contract. So now if I go to here, it says return synthesized audio based on the input. All right, if we have went through all of these components and we are good with that, I'll go ahead and run the application and we'll see. So here, first of all, just don't forget to turn on the application, right? So here we have one post endpoint and it says home. I'll open my Postman. I just like file. We select the file from local machine. I go to desktop. Here I have downloaded the essay. And if any one of you has any text that's in English, be it handwritten, be it screenshotted like mine, you can send it to me. We'll play around with my service and we'll see how it works with your data. So search your folders and send it to the chat. We'll play around with it. So I have this essay. Let me show the essay to you. That some people think that government should spend more public money on looking for other planets. It starts like this. Okay, and I'll do a send. We have the breakpoint. Okay, the app is working. Let's wait. Let's give it a couple of
Some people think that government should spend more public
and
money on looking for other planets to live. Others think there are more important problems. Discuss both views A and D, give your own opinion. Although some people argue that the
Just
right
let me know
use
in
of
the
public
chat
money
whether you can
governments is to
hear
fund
the
research
voice or
searching
not.
planets that support human life. Others claim that we already have burning issues that need immediate action around us.
You can. Yeah,
in my
good.
opinion, the idea
So what it's
allocate
doing,
money to overcome
I'm not
these
sure
urgent
why
problems
Visual
sounds
Studio
more
does that,
logical and realistic. On the
but
one
it's
hand,
voicing
need to
over
find other
as it's
habitable
reading,
planets.
as it's
Humanity
synthesizing.
is rising day after day. There is plenty of scientific evidence to support the claim that we have already exploited finite resources available on Earth, and unfortunately some of these
Where are we at?
resources are essential for our survival. Moreover, predictions from the scientific community warn that in the very distant future, mankind will confront a serious survival problems, some of which are matters of life and death. Worryingly, these estimates are
We are
real
here. We
and
are
based on
halfway through.
compelling evidence. However, while the alternative to find other planets
Until
where
it finishes, you
can
can
live seems
search
more
your
or less
folders for
unrealistic,
some
I think the pressing issues that are posing
text,
threat to
or
our
you can
existence are,
handwrite it real
without
quick.
a doubt, real. Global hurdles including warming of the Earth and overpopulation or outbreaks of diseases constantly keep putting our lives at risk. These problems have so far claimed the lives of thousands, if not millions, and sadly these numbers will keep rising and multiplying. When we have such questions whose solutions are visible and only need government funding around us, it is unwise to subsidize them. Research searching other hospitable planets, which is a risky investment. In conclusion, while we have an increasing pressure to explore planets which can support human life, I believe that wise allocation of public money would be to overcome current urgent issues.
Okay. So I've got one form. Yeah, we have a breakpoint here. And that's
Some people
audio.
think that government should spend.
Playback speeds. Where can I save this?
More public confront a serious.
Yeah, that's just the audio that's returned from the endpoint. Let's try one more time. We choose file. We choose this option, and we have it here. Send.
We always work for a better tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, instead of enjoying, we again think of a better tomorrow. Let's have a better today.
Yeah, you know, some of these voices seem a bit, techy, not natural. But if there are, as I said, more than 400 voices, you can search and see which fits you best and use that voice. I just used the first one coming on top of my head and just put it out there. Yeah, that's entire project, entire, application from scratch till the feature is, possible. You could see how those whole components are working. And I forgot one thing. No one got interested in that as well. What's a library called for speech services? It's called Microsoft Cognitive Services and Speech. Sadly, it's not pretty consistent. I would love it to be consistent, but library, Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, and what is the service called from Azure? We'll go ahead and explore that now. We go ahead and you can just say more services, and here you can see Azure Services. That's that's like a folder of all services. But down here, if you can see, that's called Speech Services. And if you click here, you can create a new service, just like we did with Vision service. You choose the resource group. Let me just type. I'll go with free. For network identity, I can go with defaults, and here you can see some speech service. If you click create, it creates speech service for you, but I'll not do that. I highly encourage you to go after this session to portal, create those services, play around, and try to build some real project. I guess, yeah, if you want to learn more about the architecture that I've discussed earlier, that's called, like if you go to Hassan Habib and standard, that's where I am building these whole services, how I am architecting the stuff. This I've learned from this standard book. I've added the link to PPT as well, presentation as well. And if you want to stay connected, just reach me out in the LinkedIn. I've also attached that link in the presentation, but if anyone wants a quick link from the chat, here you go. So yeah, that's it from my side. Do you have any question, guys? We can spend some time talking. Okay. Yeah, over to you, Meryut. Telling your name.
Yeah, I see someone. Okay, someone wrote that they don't have questions. Okay, dear guests, if we don't have any questions, we can draw the curtains of this online meetup. And as I stay before you, with a heart brimming with gratitude towards our speaker. It has been an incredible journey of shared insights. It's inspiring to witness the richness that emerges when a community comes together to exchange ideas and experiences. And our speaker have generously shared his expertise, sparkling intellectual curiosity, and challenging us to think beyond ordinary. Let's express our gratitude to him for enlightening us with the knowledge and insights. In the spirit of moving forward, I encourage you to stay connected through our community channels, to send messages to Elbek also. He kindly shared his LinkedIn profile. You can ask questions in our community and we can share them with Elbek too, and get the answers this way. Yeah, so let's stay connected through our community channels, continue the conversations that sparked today, and explore opportunities for any further collaborations. On behalf of the organizing team, I express our deep appreciation for your presence, our dear guests, and for your engagement also. It has been an honor to facilitate discovering of minds, let's say, and we look forward to welcoming you again in our future endeavors. Share your thoughts on the event in the community. Yes, and until we meet again, may your journeys be filled with inspiration, with discovery, and the joy of lifelong learning also. Thank you very much, and goodbye, everyone. We will share the recording and also the files, the presentation with you later. Please stay connected. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.